Watch this, y'all. When they finally did start praying, they cried unto God. And look what God answered. He answered in verse 4. Look at us. And Deborah, a prophetess, the wife of Deborah, she judged Israel at the time. Watch this. They prayed for deliverance, and God gave them a preacher. They are in bondage. They are in an oppression because there is no godly leadership. Have you ever been there? New St. James, have you ever been there? Where there was no godly leadership. And when they prayed for guidance, he sends them there. Y'all want to get up on your feet? Let's start praying for the Lord and the Lord. Listen, they prayed for deliverance, and God sends them a preacher. He did not send them an army. He did not send them any angels. He sends them a preacher. Watch this, y'all. It was a preacher that had to be a female. Oh yeah, I said that. I didn't know what I said. I said that. I showed them. They sent them a preacher that happened to be a woman. He may not get what you want, but he gives what he wants you to have. He sent a preacher. Watch this. She was not only a preacher, a prophet. Watch this, y'all. She was a judge also. Watch this. She was a judge. Here it is. That dwelt in Mount Ephraim. In other words, she dwelt in the hill country. Hold on. Watch this, y'all. She's in the hills. And Israel now has to go up to the hills to hear what the preacher had to say over their issues. She was a preacher that was a judge. Now, whenever there was an issue that arose in Israel, they went to the judge to get the issue resolved. She's not in the valley where they are. She's in the hills of Mount Ephraim. Watch this, y'all. When you are really need deliverance, God will sometimes position you to rise above your situation. God, God, let's start to be here for you. For some of us, it was hard getting out of bed this morning. For some of us, getting out of bed and getting dressed to come to church was a real hard thing for us to do. Some get in the car and drive all the way to church, and some of us thought about going back home and laying back down. But sometimes you got to rise above your situation to get to the point where God can talk to you. You can't allow your issue to keep you down. You got to rise above your issue, hear what God has to say. And the reason some of us haven't heard what God has to say because you buried your head in the sand. You can't deal with your reality. You can't deal with life. You can't deal with what's going on around you. You can't deal with the folk that's dealing with you. So you bury your head in the sand and say, I'm going to stay down here until the change comes. But you can't see the change. You can't hear change because your head is buried in the sand. But I dare you, I double dog dare you to rise your head out the sand and lift yourself above your situation and hear what God has to say. He says, get up from there and go up unto the hill. What's this, y'all? Go to the hill. What's this? He goes to hear what the preacher has to say. And sometimes you got to hear what the preacher has to say and what your friends have to say. Because see, the preacher is not a politician. He or she can speak to the leadership of a country without penalty. Some folk, you can't say that you're scared what the repercussions going to be. But the preacher can say something other folk can't say. You're going to be scared, worried about what people are going to say, what people are going to do. So God had to send a preacher to speak to their situation to bring about a change because the preacher don't worry about being penalized. He or she speaks to the ears of the people despite the repercussions. Because sometimes folk will start speaking to you because you touch on the issue that they have going on. But the preacher can't worry about people loving on him or loving on her. They can't worry about being patted on the back. They can't worry about having their hands shaken. They can't worry about people hugging them and holding on to them. They got to preach what the word of God declares and not worry about the response of the people. You got to declare the word of God, and you cannot be an anointed man or woman of God in a time that we're living in and be scared of both faces. You got to preach the word, the unadulterated gospel. You got to preach And as soon as they went to the pulpit, stand what folk don't do to. You have to stand on the word of God and know what God is giving you to say. And declare the word of God, not throwing out the hurt and not the lash or the tear down, but give the word that will bring about change in the lives of people. Yes, Deborah says she's the judge, and she sits under a palm tree. Oh God, too much in here. I'm going to do part 2 next Sunday. That's the show. He says, I'm trying to get this point. Look at verse 5. And she dwelt under the palm tree. Watch this. Deborah between Ramah and Bethel in Mount Ephraim. And the children of Israel came up to her for judgment. Now watch this, y'all. She is sitting under a palm tree. And she's sitting there to receive the people as they come to receive judgment from them. Now, 2 things here I see in the palm tree. The first thing I see here is that palm trees bend, but they don't break. Watch this, y'all. Watch this. Watch this. When you look at a palm tree after a storm, a palm tree is always bent all the way over. It'll make you think the tree has been destroyed. But when you understand the makeup of a palm tree, as long as the sun is shining, the tree is being strengthened to rise back up to where it's supposed to be. Oh, y'all, what am I saying? Some of y'all have gone through some storm and haven't been over. But thank God the SON keep on shining. And as long as he's shining, I'm getting stronger every day. What had me down last week will keep me down this week. What knocked me down last year will keep me down this year. The more I get of the SON, the stronger I become. The more powerful I become. The more hope I have. The more faith I have. You might be, but baby, don't you break. Let the winds blow. Let the rain fall. Let tornadoes come. Let the hurricane come to your life. But don't you dare break. Be a palm tree. Bend, but don't you break. The palm tree that needs anybody help them straighten up. The sun stiffens it. And it raises. You know, watch this. When I understand palm tree, even though it is no break, why doesn't it get uprooted? Because the pine tree will become uprooted at 5 cost time. Oak tree gets uprooted and goes in another neighborhood. But the palm tree is never uprooted. Watch the text. The palm tree, when it grows, it reaches down into the soil. It travels throughout the area where it is until it finds a solid rock. And it doesn't just rest next to the rock, but the roots wrap themselves around the rock. Oh God. So when the wind blows,